So we are up at the start. You can see our boom camera just flying over the student eights for the final of the Temple Challenge Cup. One American crew and one British crew. The Americans from Northeastern University in Boston at the top of your picture, and Oxford Brookes University here on the near side. Yes, it's the final of the Temple Challenge Cup, and Northeastern University are at the top of your picture in white. Oxford Brookes already winners of one event at the regatta this afternoon, the Ladies Challenge Plate. Their A crew won that from the Dutch. Will they make it 2 events on finals day? Oxford Brookes closest to us. Northeastern University, the men from Boston. There we see at the top of your picture the 20-year-old stroke with the hat on, Jan Berend. Who's your money on this one, Jess?
I think it's going to be quite a close one. We've seen some really amazing racing from both crews so far. Oxford Brookes obviously know what their fellow teammates did just before the luncheon interval. Win the Ladies Challenge Plate, and they make it 2 in a row. Let's see if these Americans can answer their call.
Well, there's only one length between Oxford Brookes A crew, and effectively this is their B crew in the Temple Challenge Cup, although they're racing as Oxford Brookes University A crew. But this crew contains 4 of the men who lost this final last year to University of Washington, who are the holders of this event. The umpires called them to attention. And that's a clean first stroke from both crews. Absolutely really important to get into your rhythm. Down the island here, you see Oxford Brookes on the Buckinghamshire station, right, with those big, fat, smoothie blades, really snappy on the catch. Northeastern well into their rhythm, look smooth, look cool. That's Willie Lowick with the Stars and Stripes on his head, the 20-year-old. Comes from St. Louis in America. This Northeastern crew, a multinational crew. We'll talk about them as we go down the course. Brookes look to have taken first blood, Jess.
Good start by Brookes there. I think they've just slipped a canvas on Northeastern on the top end of the screen. That's a strong start. Both crews are pretty much neck and neck here.
So there we see the Oxford Brookes bow man, Mikey Dalton, with the white cap on. We talked about him in commentary yesterday. One of the 4 that hold the world junior record, 5:47 in a Coxter's 4. That's almost as fast as Redgrave and Pinson's 4 when they won in Sydney. And Mikey Dalton, well, he can do 5:47 in a 4, which is the world's best time for juniors, but he can't get in the Oxford Brookes first 8. There he is up at bow, the 8 on this side with the white cap on. Oxford Brookes had that handy lead. Northeastern looked to have come back into it in the early stages of the race so far.
One thing I would say, Martin, is Northeastern have had a pretty tough day of racing yesterday. Just pipped Newcastle University by a third of a length. Are they going to be feeling that now? You know, we're a few days into racing. Can Brookes take the advantage? Can they take the early blood up to the barrier? Let's see what the margin's going to be here.
Well, yesterday's times, Brookes went through the barrier in 1:44. Northeastern went through in 1:46. So Brookes should have a length on Northeastern. Northeastern will know that, and they will have had to have gone out very, very quickly. Their coach, John Projednik, will have told them that. There's the Northeastern crew. You have 4 guys in the crew from Germany, 1 from New Zealand, 1 from Britain, and 2 Americans. It's one of these multinational crews. You see, they all get scholarships to these American universities, but because none of these athletes are in their national team, Northeastern have managed to take their whole crew, unlike the universities of Yale or Harvard or Washington, whose athletes have gone back to row with their national team. So Northeastern in the final of the IRAs, which is the top American university championships, and you can see there on the right of your picture, Northeastern probably about half a length down on the boys from Oxford Brookes University.
Yeah, the Northeastern Brookes there looks like they're just steering towards the middle of the course a little bit. They try and put some pressure on Brookes through steering. Looking tight. They look quite relaxed there, the Brookes boys. Very powerful stroke. See that way they pick up the first bit of the stroke and then they really lever off it. Quite contrast to that Scotch College crew we saw this morning. Much more of a lean back, and Eton turned them over this morning with much better rowing than the British 8.
Oxford Brookes on the right of your picture. There's the blades of Northeastern. They are trailing at the moment, probably by about 3/4 length, maybe a second and a half. Look round from the 5-man Elias Kuhn, the German, in the Northeastern 8, they'll know they have to make a move at the moment. To me, this looks like Brookes have got this race sewn up, Jess.
Yeah, but these experienced boys in this Northeastern crew, they know what it's like to be racing in tight races, and I can't expect they're going to roll over. So they're staying in contact. They're only coming through the middle of the race here. What have they got? Is Brookes going to hang on to this? Or Northeastern, this is the time to put them under pressure. If they can do it now, boys.
Well, Northeastern had a quicker time than Brookes yesterday, 6:05 to Brookes 6:08, but Northeastern were pressed pretty hard, as you said, and I thought Brookes had an easier time against Nearhouse, so that's a pretty handy margin, just on the length margin coming through the halfway point. Oxford Brookes lead. There's Clearwater. They're moving away, Jess.
That's what you want to look for. The Cox is going to turn around, have a quick look behind him. Gavin McWilliams there from Oxford Brookes, and have we broken away? You want to keep contacting these boats, and the minute you get Clearwater, he's going to be telling his crew that, Clearwater, give me another inch. And I think they've got this now, Brookes. Well, how far can they move away?
Look at those blades, nicely synced up. Tribute to the Brookes training programme. There's Seb Newman, one of the survivors from that 2018. Behind him, Henry Blarbrook, also in that 8, as was the 6-man Matt Rowe. So 4 survivors from the 8 that lost to Washington in the final of this event last year. They're aiming to make it a different result this time. Northeastern, they were last year in 2013 in the ladies' plate. They lost in the final to what effectively was the British under-23 8. Desperately trying to make up ground in the centre part of this race. But at the moment, Brookes look imperious. This will be the second win for Brookes if this crew manages to maintain this cadence down the course.
That's a hard-ass margin. These boys will have known their other teammates will have just won Henley not an hour earlier. Would they have got into the emotion of that? Would they have cheered them back in? Or do you think they just sit down and keep their heads in the game, ready for their race, ready for their shot down the course?
Yeah, they'll know all about that Brookes result. There's the drone flying over the Brookes 8. The centre, Matthew Newman, James Snowball, Max Thompson, Sam Bannister in the centre of that 8, providing the power. Mikey Dalton up in the bows, Seb Newman in the stroke seat. Gavin McWilliams, the 23-year-old Cox. He hasn't looked back yet, but if he does, he'll see that they've got a race-winning margin over the crew from Northeastern. They're in white on this left-hand side of your picture, just going up the beautiful shot past the enclosures. I look out at my commentary position, they've got about 250 metres left.
They're going to enjoy this now, circular. How much more can they move towards this finish line?
There's the back of Mikey Dalton, smooth, fluid. Power coming down in that Brookes 8. That's their hallmark. Henry Balash-Webb and Richard Spratley have put together this fantastic programme. Crews from all ages managed to row at the Brookes programme. They've had success at Henley year after year after year. It's how you make a fantastic 8 from people who might not be individual talent, but together they make beautiful poetic music, and they're fantastic in this boat. Brookes coming up to the finish. The last few strokes of the final of the Temple Challenge Cup. Oxford Brookes, Mikey Dalton takes a look. Yes, you're the Temple winner, Mikey. Northeastern crossed the line. They managed just to get a slight overlap at the end, but that wasn't good enough. Brookes had it in them. Confirmation, Brookes beat Northeastern.
Well, there you go. They've won the Temple Challenge Cup. They're the fastest university men's crew probably in the world now. This is one of the premier events for these guys, and they put on a great show down there, beating Northeastern.
Yeah, this was a good Northeastern crew, the multinational crew. You can see both crews off the start, getting ready. Up there in the bows, Ruben Houghton, the Kiwi from the Northeastern 8. This multinational crew. Brookes seemed to get them right off the start. We saw that shot as they came out of the island, Jess.
They're known for being aggressive. They're an aggressive, hard group of guys and girls at Oxford Brookes, and they certainly took no prisoners there going down the island. They one-on-one racing, get your bows ahead, start looking back on your opposition.
I'll tell you what, who'd like to take on Brookes on one-on-one racing? I mean, they do so much of it in their training programme. They're competing against each other the whole time, and who'd want to go up against them in a gladiatorial one-on-one combat?
Impressive programme, really impressive stuff for these guys.